Yeah, it's a very it's a strange new world with the whole influencer piece and how big that's becoming too. It's like the nature of this, because obviously if things are fractal, and so the more it's funny because there is kind of like an exodus from these platforms a little bit. Yet at the same time, these content creators are what's going to bring people back to these platforms, because people will tune in to somebody they want to listen to. So it's like the value of that is now being amplified, because you just can't do it through. You can. I mean, they can definitely impact the algorithm. They can change kind of what comes up in search. They can influence on a broad scale what everybody sees. But it's the individual content creators that if they can kind of like be able to place the right ad or place the right message, becomes a very powerful capability and obvious trend of what they're going to try to take control of next.
Yeah, because a lot of these brands are trying to build trust, right, within these different audiences. They're coming in, they want to build their platform on Twitter, or Instagram, whatever. So if they work with somebody who already has trust with their audience, then they kind of like get that trust, right? And also it's different from like running ads on YouTube, because like your ad is actually in the video, it's being said by the creator, right? And you see a lot of that, right? Most creators have some sort of like, this video is sponsored by whatever, right? What I do find interesting with those is that most of the time, a lot of them, like I would never even remember who sponsors who, unless they're doing it a lot. Like I know Honey, Manscaped, Carrot Card, a lot of those mobile games. I can't remember which names they are, but I see those being like amongst a lot of different creators. So when I hearing like there's like a group of creators that I might be paying attention to, right? But when they're all sort of at some point talking about it, then it like gives it so much more credibility, right? So you just think about the amount of ad spend that they have to do in order to kind of like be able to make it so as as a consumer of content, right? I'm going in and I'm focusing on all these different creators' content, and I keep hearing about these various products all the time, but throughout from a whole bunch of them, before it becomes like really like ingrained, then I'm like, I really remember what this thing is. So
what are your thoughts on that? Like, what's the commentary there? Is it that like it's an impressive amount of money they have to like wield and spend on this?
Yeah,
like,
I
the
think it's
distribution,
like,
or that it is effective?
I think both. I think it is effective, but I mean, I'm imagining they're spending many millions, but they're spending before maybe
I'm
spending
sure.
many millions on just ads, right? But I mean, a lot of this, sometimes they'll say, go here, use my promo code, right? That way they can actually track that where it came from, right? And so yeah, I mean, it must work, but they're also maybe venture backed, and they just know, okay, if we, it's just like TV advertising, right? It's the same sort of idea. Actually, what's interesting, just real quick, is like I was watching I watch the Nelk Boys and the Full Send podcast, and they always make a joke about how they're not sponsored by anybody, and that they just made their own products, which is really smart. They have their supplements company, and they have Happy Dad, their alcohol, plus they do their merch drops, which is very common amongst creators, right? So instead of working with these other brands, they just make their own brands, which is way smarter to do.